I'm ready.
I'm good.
So did it take you through all the motions already?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I think it's live now. Yeah, it's
There
live
it is.
now.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Hold on 1 second, y'all, so I can get back into it. Not letting me in. Oh, there we
There we
are.
go.
Cool.
There we go.
Can everybody see me?
Yes,
I can.
All right, Cece, I don't see you.
I'm coming back. Hang on.
All right.
I
Awesome.
just started. We're on live on my page.
All right. Did everybody get a chance to share?
Doing that right now.
Get ready to share it now.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the chat. If you can, go ahead, like and share with your friends and family. We're going to get started in just a quick second. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Welcome,
Good
welcome,
evening.
welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. Everybody
Salutations.
shared? Cisco, you shared?
I shared.
That's what's up. Where's Bruce? What happened to Bruce?
I'm here.
Okay,
Right
good
there.
deal.
He's in the
Sharon.
blessed ministry.
He's in the blessing ministry. Okay, there he is. Bruce, you finished blessing people?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
All
Helping
right, you
people
guys.
get their mind right.
Right? We're
It
gonna
was
get
very
started.
good.
I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick prayer. We're gonna get started, okay?
Very
All
Okay.
good.
right.
All righty, Father, we thank you for this opportunity to share with these your people again. We thank you for this day. We thank you for getting us here safely, Father God. We thank you for every family that's represented here, Father. Let our words be enlightening to your people, Father God, and continue to give us what we need in order to give your people what they need. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Happy Tuesday night, everybody. What's up?
Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah,
What's up? Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Yes, let's do
I'm
this.
ready.
Man, Mr. Dixon, I think you done rubbed off on me because this narrative is kind of long.
Mm,
I didn't realize how long it was until it's time to read it on tonight.
Okay, all
yeah.
right.
You know. The topic of tonight's show is I'm just not feeling it. The error of the dismissive nature. Mm.
Mm.
It's so interesting to me how we even get to the I'm not feeling it, quote unquote, frame of mind. After we said that this is the person that I really want in my life, I desire to earn their trust and win the love fight with them on my side. They contribute to my happiness, bring joy where there was pain. They are spiritual, God centered. Loyalty is by far one of their best traits. We communicate on a consistent basis, and to top it off, the chemistry and synergy are all on point. Yet someone in the equation has lost touch with one, a few, or all of these components. Something somewhere else has divided the attention that we once shared. Instead of being all in, they're now halfway out. The phone doesn't ring as often. The morning and nighttime text is nearly obsolete. Communication through the course of the day is likely no longer to happen, and the request for time and intimate energy is now an inconvenience.
Mm.
What once was we is now displayed as I don't care. Quote. What is the real truth behind dismissing the one you once said was everything? When asked, are we still together? The answer is yes, when the behavior screams no.
Mm.
So let's talk about this dismissive behavior. Let me tell y'all how we landed here in the first place. Oh man, I was talking to somebody and they were saying about their person. They were like, they made a comment about their person and said, yeah, you know what, he calling right now, but I'm gonna get back to him. Yeah, I'm gonna call him later.
Mm,
And I said, well, what? I said, but you're on the phone with me. You can no, I'm just calling back later. I don't feel
mm,
like dealing with it right now. I said, well, dealing with what? I don't want to talk to him. I said, dang, what's
mm,
up with that dismissive behavior? And the light bulb went off. Now,
mhm.
I do have to give credit where credit is due. The title came from Mr. Dixon because I didn't know how to put it all together, but I just knew that that dismissive behavior was a reflection of, that particular person feeling like they had this air of arrogance about
Mhm.
themselves. Like, I got them now. I don't have to give them the attention until I feel like it, basically.
Mm.
It's how
Mm.
the person pretty much portray themselves. And I was thinking to myself, how dangerous is dismissive behavior? And how is it that we get to a place where we once had all this energy, all this wherewithal, all this stamina for this person and it just dies off? What really
Mm.
happens between the initial give, and all of a sudden you gone, gone, gone.
Mm-hmm.
What's really going on with that, with the dismissive behavior? And it seems like in the time we live in, it's becoming more and more and more prevalent. So I definitely wanted to tackle the topic, and we got the great panelists. Our host on the host with the most, Mr. Dixon, is in the building, and we got some guests over here. We got Bruce Almighty in the background, and then we got Cisco, Cisco in the building, Miss Marquita, and Miss Cece.
Yeah,
What's really going on? How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
I'm
Awesome.
good.
Well, we're hanging
Great.
in there.
That's
Very
what's
good.
up. So, Bruce, how about you give us your thoughts on this topic, and then Marquita, I want you to head on in after he talks, and then we're gonna just keep it flowing from there.
Okay, well, as far as people being dismissive, I think that we have gotten to a point nowadays with stress, pressure, failed relationships, uh, rejection from our childhood. Not to get too far ahead of myself, but I think it has given us a sense of perverted entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I think we think that we just got it like that.
Mm.
That we can just carry it however we want to carry it when it comes to somebody else's life
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Wow.
attached to our lives.
Wow.
And I feel that the nature of lust is once that lust or the anxiety that comes with that initial lust is satisfied,
Mm.
then I no longer have that same zeal,
Mm.
that same passion. In other words, when I wanted some of that thing, I came at you hard.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got them cookies,
Mm-hmm.
I done ate the whole bag now. I done finished the whole bag of Chips Ahoy. I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It's actually making me sick now because I done ate a whole bag of your cookies.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of making me sick now. You making me sick.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna deal with you the next time I get the lust urge again. I think that's where we are.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I was listening to TD Jakes today, and he said something about a relationship, and it really kind of stuck with me. He said, a lot of times if we are a routine person, that means we are a boring person. There's nothing new for us. Nothing changes. We say the same things every day. Do this a certain time or whatever. So we have a routine. He said, but when you hook up with someone else, your routine seems new to them because y'all are new. But after a while, they find out that you are actually a boring person. So I think a lot of times in relationships, it's just that we are stuck in routine. And if we're not changing and we don't have any newness about us, then the routine or the relationship gets sour or it gets boring because your routine is no longer fun because it's no longer new. So I actually honestly agree with that we sometimes as individuals, we're stuck in routines and then we're not changing anything about ourselves. We're not, renew or venturing off into new things. So we both get tired of each other because I'm tired of your routine. So, I mean, that's just my take on it too.
Let's go. You look like your wheels are spinning on your head back there.
I think that you only dismiss what you feel you have an abundance of. You have a lot of supply.
Oh,
So
that's good.
you're getting a lot of attention. So you figure like, hey, I get it when I'm not craving it as much. And I think everything now, instead of depending on a relationship, one-on-one type of attention, it's so much fractional attention. You can get attention from Facebook, you can get attention from Instagram, you can get attention from this text, this email, whatever. It's so many things that you can do that you don't have to work for. And what you don't work for, you really don't value. Anything that's free and given to you with an abundance, pretty soon you don't value, you don't appreciate it. It's not valuable to you anymore because it's not scarce, it's not rare, it's commonplace.
Wow. 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 CC, I see your wheels spinning in that brain of yours. Go ahead, give it
I
to Go ahead, give it to him.
I was looking at it, and I'm gonna tell you that those 2 and 3 perspectives are true.
Right.
However, I see it from another side of the table. There are some people who are in something that they've asked for and or wanted for a long period of time. Then when it comes, they don't know how to handle it. So the fear of commitment shifts their gears, and they're like, I don't want that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll walk away from it and become dismissive, thinking that, well, when I do want it, I can reach back for it and it'll be there. One of the reasons why I believe that we should withhold, and I'm going to go down the DNA street, why we should withhold the cookies is because I don't need you eating my cookies right now. I need you to admire the jar, because the cookies are going to always be in the jar. A lot of people have gotten to a place where they want relationship. I hear it all the time. I've had to deal with it. And like I was saying before we came on, it's amazing how your topic hit home. And I had to counsel 3 different couples on 3 different levels in the last 24 hours because people have really taken for granted what they have. They
Right.
think that they
Right.
have this relationship that's going to always be there. Well, she wanted me or he wanted me, and I've given them a little taste of what they can have. So when I get ready to go fishing again, I just drop my hook in the water. When the truth of the
Mm-hmm.
matter is, the fish are now swimming upstream,
Right.
Mm.
and your bait is no longer worthy of the catch. For me, in
Lord
my
have mercy.
perspective, there are some things that we have to examine going in. A lot of things are taken out of context because people put the carriage before the horse in most relationship building tactics. They go into relationships thinking that, well, if I let him come over, if I cook for him, if I give him some good sex, and I'm just saying it from a woman's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
that once he gets a taste of this, he's going to always want it. Well, wait a minute. There are other cookies in this grocery store. Just because you got Oreos don't mean he want that. He might want a little old-fashioned oatmeal cookie every now and then.
Right.
So
Right.
when he has options and you become an option, or she has options and you become an option, they take for granted that they can reach back and get something that they thought was going to be there and they're not there because the
Mm-hmm.
level of interest has decreased. You're not exciting. You're boring. Like she said, like Kiki said, you're boring to a point of so much routine that I can almost anticipate when you're going to do what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Saying good
Mm.
morning every morning is great, but how do you say good morning? There are some mornings and I can go down this street with the married mindset. Some people wake up, I want sex at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't want it at 5 because I got to get ready to go to work at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know I can get it at 3 all the time, I got to shift the routine so you don't become expectant in what you're getting in a relationship to a point of boredom, to a point of lack of excitement. I look at my grandparents, they were frisky at an old age, but that's because they was doing stuff all over the place. They went to different places, they had
I'm over.
excitement.
Don't put me on tonight.
Yes, and we've got to keep energy and excitement and ask the question, baby, what can I do to stimulate you? What can I do to, make you reach for some more of this? You
Mm.
got to ask the question, and communication has to be a key. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be a key.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't say nothing, they'll walk away and you don't get a chance to say nothing.
Very true. Very true. I'm sorry, lady. I didn't realize you was going. I didn't realize you weren't done preaching tonight.
You stupid. It's
Mr.
your
Dixon,
fault.
Mr. Dixon, I see your wheels spinning back there in the corner lot of the club.
Mhm.
What's going on in your mind, Mr. Dixon?
I mean, I'm thinking of a compilation of things that I heard everybody pretty much say, but the bottom line is today it's just like just what Bruce said and just what Cisco said. People do what they do because they can.
Mm-hmm.
Today,
Yes.
there are things that our love styles, our dating styles, has changed and grew right along with the resources available. Like back in the day, you didn't have social media, all these
Right.
dating apps, and all
Right.
these other things. So you were comfortable within your area. Maybe you dated Tina down the street, and maybe Carolyn across town, maybe right. But then as your reach has grown, now mentally you are no longer settled to, like to say, where you were in Texas. You're not thinking just Texas no more. Now you're like, I can date and touch whoever I like all across the world if they're interested in me. So you
Mm-hmm.
figure you got that versus the people within your small circle where you are. Then there's Cary in North Carolina, wherever. Let's just say
Right.
people are wherever, and you can just reach out and touch. And so what's happening is we're really being shown. It's like God is allowing our insides to be turned inside out, and He's showing just how up to the highest bidder most of us are. So
Right.
people are just sitting back. They'll talk to you, but they're still always waiting. Think about people, you might be dating somebody, and next thing you know, you'll be like, you and this person is kind of talking, communicating smooth. Before any sex, you're communicating, 60 days, and all of a sudden you keep hearing the person say, my girlfriend want me to go with her to the state. I don't know why she's dragging me out. I'm like, well, you don't have to go, right? But you want to go because you still got that mindset of entertaining the next highest bidder. Maybe another baller will come on this level, and maybe that level, or this, that, and the other, and we're no longer content. And so you have that discontent equal in coupled with selfishness. People constantly are, look, I don't have time for this. I mean, really, I'm done by. They don't have patience for anything. People will get with you the first offense you throw their way, or something outside of what they're normally used to. They don't have the patience for it because they feel like you're wasting my time from going over here. I can go over here. This guy or this woman is just as interested. So are you done? Okay, bye. Let me go try my hand over here. And at the end of the day, no one really gets happy because every person has their thing. You just haven't discovered it yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because I think that's the picture that a lot of people miss, is that thing. That one
Yeah.
thing that makes them no longer palatable.
Right.
It seemed like they were going to taste so delicious, but now somebody has put the wrong ingredient inside the recipe.
Right.
So now when you taste it, it's no longer palatable.
Right.
You can send it back to the chef several times because you don't like the way. Well, it was good when you first sent it out, but the meat was a little too rare. I wanted you to just, to just put it back on the grill just lightly, but now it's overcooked, and now I just want a whole nother one. And so you got this mindset, and then all of a sudden the real person in the equation with the issue is really you. They just haven't
Correct.
realized that you got something going on internally, which
Mhm.
is destructive at best. But
Mm.
you appear to be totally functioning. You appear to be totally normal. But a lot of people, this is what I've seen. A lot of people who are going from person to person to person is because that thing is being found out. So
Mhm.
they can no
Mm.
longer stay where they are. They got to keep moving. They ain't got a choice,
Correct.
because their dysfunction, their disdain, their misconduct, their ill mannerisms, and like your show last night, their cheating
Yeah.
behaviors and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
they're
Mm.
found out. So
Yeah.
they appear to be dismissive at best, but they're really dysfunctional,
But
Correct.
and
why
they're
is
just
it
Oh,
that
masquerading as
people won't
dismissive.
ask? I think my struggle with it is, why don't people just say, we were cool, it was
Right,
good,
right,
but I think that in this dating phase, I've discovered that I want a little more. The
right,
biggest problem I have in the people that I had to deal with today was that nobody wanted to say anything.
right,
You just want to walk away, and you've touched the lives of the people connected to you and that person. So now you got friends connected to the quote unquote boyfriend, girlfriend,
hmm,
and they wonder, well, what happened to so and so? I don't know, girl. We used to talk all the time. And he
Yeah.
just stopped calling. Don't just stop calling. Say something. Go
right,
ahead and release
right.
yourself to be a mature adult and say, you know what? I really like you, but I'm looking for a little bit more. And maybe that person has a little bit more, but you haven't given them the chance or the opportunity to express it, because they're reserved just as much as you are. And they
Mm.
should be afforded the opportunity to say, you know what? I have that in me, but I didn't know if you were ready for that. And then build to the next level, because social media and all of these connecting activities, dating and what have you, sites have become an element in the ingredients, and people don't want to really communicate like normal human beings should,
Right.
because now what used to be normal is abnormal.
right.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's
and
what
I
Communication.
think
Cisco said that earlier about that dismissive distractions. With all, like you said, with all of these opportunities, so to speak, if you will.
Right.
It just it destroys our attention span. It destroys our ability to be committed and be connected and be loyal to one person if we're not. Like I said yesterday, even in the chat when we were talking on this Dixon show, because this dismissive behavior coincides with cheating. It
Yes,
coincides
it
with
does.
that behavior. And
Yes, it
when
does.
you think about that, you think to yourself, if like you said, if somebody could just go ahead and just be transparent enough to say what their real is, just
Mhm,
say
mhm.
whatever your real is. And then we can avoid, stuff like you being vague with me, or every time I turn around, you on the phone. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm sitting right here in your face and I can't even get your attention, and you on the phone and this, that, and it. It's all this other stuff. You just got all this other stuff going because you really are not plugged into me. It's
Yeah.
whatever's coming
Well,
from me is not enough
and
for
that
you.
and that is the point where that person has decided that you are now expendable to me.
See,
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Or
It
else
becomes
he wouldn't
past
do it.
tense.
Or he wouldn't
It
do it.
becomes past
And
tense.
something you said earlier, Carrie, that I was, when you were talking about the bait and you were talking about the jar and the bait. And
Mhm,
here's something that I think I tell women this all the time. It doesn't matter how foggy it looks from this whole, dismissive musical chairs, all these things going on. You have to keep in mind when men are going to, when they're going fishing, they're not just going fishing to pick up any random fish. They have a
mhm,
specific catch that they're looking for. There's a
mhm,
like that's why you see those guys take. Look at I caught this big bass. They're into
mhm.
bass, right?
Yep.
So what I'm
Yep.
saying is, if there is a fisherman looking for you, he's looking for you. He doesn't
right.
matter how many other fish are flying around. When he recognizes the fish style that he's comfortable with, that's what he
Mhm.
goes for. And so I think
Correct.
if women think about it like that, it wouldn't be so convoluted and thinking, oh, these men gonna be doing this because there is a fish. Look, I mean, there's a fisherman looking for you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And
I think,
you know what? And funny you said that. Even with the fishing, with the fisherman concept, they still get other fish before they get to the one they want.
Yep.
Well, that's
And
because they
sometimes they
casting
don't
that big
throw them
net.
back.
And that's the
They don't
part
Yeah,
always
where
throw them back.
that's the challenge. You're right, Cece. That's the challenge right there, is because sometimes they'll settle for
hmm,
other fish, although they want this particular fish, but at the moment they don't have access to it. So they'll
hmm,
settle for something else in the interim in in hopes to access what they really want. So if
Yeah.
you're a fisherman and you normally catch trout, but unfortunately all you catching right now is whiting because that's all that's biting on the hook.
but you know why? Because this is the necessary evil of life. Because that man or woman has to eat, so they're gonna eat what's available until they're able to
That's
eat
good.
what they
That's good.
desire.
That's
You
good.
understand what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what's available. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
eat. It's ugly. It don't feel good, but I take this old crabby fish for now, so I go over there and get this.
so what,
No, but that's just
I
what it
just think
is.
that
It
comes
don't
from I
sound good, but that's what
uh,
it is. Yeah.
Marquita,
and
Marquita, say something to him, Marquita. We're gonna let you say something.
listen, I
Yeah.
mean, to go back to what Carrie was saying, she was saying that if people would just speak up and say, if something has changed or different,
Yeah.
I say, but it all depends on if you really know what you want. Because
Right.
if you're
Correct.
not really sure about what you want, then you can't really speak up because at the time, only
Yeah.
thing the person is doing is feeding the need,
Right.
Right.
not
Right.
necessarily saying that, oh, this is what I want. It's just, oh, I'm
Right.
entertaining you at the time because I got this itch that I'm trying to get rid of.
Mhm.
So, okay, I'll play along with you for a moment, but now
Right.
it's getting, oh, I need somebody else to fulfill the need.
Back to
I
Right.
being
don't think
selfish again. Back to being
exactly.
selfish. Right.
And that's what
Right.
Charles was talking about when he was saying the fisherman has got to eat something because he ain't gonna starve in the process
Right.
of trying to get to the type of fish that he wants.
Right.
Cisco, I see those wheels
I,
spinning in
I
your head.
think
Oh,
that,
go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
I
Cisco,
think
come
sometimes
behind
people,
Bruce. Who gonna
I
go? Where do
think,
y'all go?
I think sometimes when people get dismissive, when they first meet you or get involved with you, they're dismissing some other people. So
Right.
you're getting it.
Right.
So it's so much attention that a person has. So in order to focus on that person that they're interested in right now, there are
Right.
other people who don't get any interest now.
Right.
Mm.
And
Right. That's
so
good.
he's really focusing on one thing is dismissing other things.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
So when the focus on you starts to dissipate, he's focusing somewhere else. That's what he investigated, thought about it, and say, well, here's what's up. But I think most people don't know what they want. They're not clear about that. But
Hmm.
they dismiss other people. But let's face it, sometimes we dismiss ourselves and we have no clue as to what we want to do. We are
Correct.
Correct.
unstable,
Right.
inattentive to our own selves.
Right.
Correct.
So it would
Correct.
be
Right.
only natural that overflow to other people. And I think once you kind of say what you want, or what you don't want, then it kind of narrows the field down. It kind of, because if you don't even know what you want, you could be, how many times we told ourselves we need to take better care of ourselves, we need to pay more attention to how we do stuff. That means we're dismissing our own selves in certain
Right.
situations.
Right. Right. That's good. Bruce, I see your wheel spinning.
Yeah, that's Cisco. That brother's deep, man. I'm gonna break bread with you. I gotta sit and break bread with you, bro. If I got to fly where you are, man.
Yeah.
Glory to God. Listen, I feel that one of the challenges for these things to take place, right? One of the things that make us so dismissive is the fact that I believe that we are not getting the person that we're trying to get to know. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah.
Okay. We are not experiencing the actual people that we are dating or we are attempting to date.
Right.
I feel as though we're only getting about 10% of people nowadays. Now, the majority of us we're over 40, I'm assuming. All of us over 40.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
Marquita is a young whippersnapper now.
12 years old.
36.
Marquita's almost
36.
in the 40-40 club. Almost.
Oh, it's almost your bedtime, sis. You need to stay in your club. Let me censor what I
I'm
say.
fully grown over here. I'm fully grown over here.
That part right there.
I get him, Marquita.
and do we got a note? Do we got a note from her parent? Did anybody sign a waiver for her?
Her husband gave up.
Hey, y'all
I
get
think
off
the
my
majority
girl
of
now.
us, I think because we have been,
Sound good.
I think because we have been in so many relationships, y'all, that when we ended those relationships, those marriages, the baby daddies and the baby mamas and all that stuff that we done been through, I think that it took a part of us away.
Wow.
So when we're dating somebody now, when we're seeing somebody now, they're not getting 100% of us.
Right.
They're getting about
Absolutely. That's
10.
good.
They're getting about 10%.
That's good.
The 90% has been reconfigured, has been reshaped, and has been affected by what other people have done to us, for us, or with us.
Yeah.
90% of us is still swimming in a plethora of experiences with the other people we done been with.
Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
So when we dating somebody now, we are dealing with them through the lenses of all those soul ties that we created. So then our question becomes, when I'm dating a woman, my question is, who are you?
Right.
Yeah.
Because if out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? And I'm listening to you. We out to dinner. We chilling, man. We chilling. We getting it in. We having a conversation. I'm listening to you. Am I hearing you, or am I hearing your response from what Tony did? What Albert did? For what John did?
Right.
And you are totally unaware. It is so embedded in your psyche.
Right.
It is so embedded in your soul, you not even aware that you are saying these things to me.
Right. Right.
But when I call Charles up, and Charles asked him, well, how did the date go, Bruce? And I can say 3 things. And Charles was out, nah, man, she's still stuck on so-and-so. She's still stuck on so-and-so. And I can say, man, Charles, that's exactly what I was feeling during the date.
Right.
She got a nice old booty, though.
You gotta eat. No, go ahead.
Well, shut up.
You know what?
No, but this is the thing. Even in that,
I'm teasing.
that's crazy, but this is the thing. A lot of people, and this is the thing with what Bruce just said, a lot of people have the rollover spirit. They don't know how to get out of a relationship, go on pause, reconfigure what they want, what they're getting, and what they're giving, and then introduce themselves to a new person. One of the good things that I appreciate in some of the people I encounter in life is that I'm training them. No, you don't need nobody right now. You're still hurting. You need to heal. And the healing does not have a time constraint.
It
We
sure
have
does.
got to learn ourselves better so that we can teach other people how to love us, how to
Mhm.
nurture us, and how we can, in return, give that to them. So many people have that rollover thing going, whereas they out of a relationship with Charles today, they in a relationship with
Mhm.
Bruce tomorrow, they back in a new
Right.
relationship next week with Cisco, and they still stuck with Charles in their system from only 10 days ago.
Right.
And
Right.
some of it ain't even sex. It's
Right.
literally the intimacy of the mind that a lot of us fall in love with because
Right.
we give ourselves over to people in conversation before we give ourselves
Absolutely.
over in our bodies.
Absolutely.
So by the
Absolutely.
time you get a good piece of tail, you are
It's
literally
a
fully
wrap.
Oh,
entwined
it's a wrap.
into
Right.
somebody. And that
Right.
DNA done hit you. So now you stirring up all this gumbo in your system
My
and you
God.
don't,
My
Right.
you're a
God.
vegetarian.
Right.
So we
Mm.
learn to stop doing the rollover thing in relationships. And like you said earlier, so many accesses to relationship building has come to us that we don't even know which one to pick.
Absolutely.
One of the things that people have got to learn is you got to know what you want before you can tell somebody else. One of the worst things in the world, and I'm going to use dating as an example. I tell people all the time, don't go on a date with me if you don't know what you want to eat. Because I know
Mm.
what I want. And
Right.
I'm going to
Mm.
tell the waitress or waiter what I want, and I expect them to bring me what I want. It's the same thing in relationships. You've got to be able to communicate clearly what you want
Right.
so that you don't get it missed, and then they bring you something you don't want, and then you don't know how to respond.
Right.
It's the same thing in relationships. When somebody brings you something you don't want, tell them, you
Mm-hmm.
Right.
know, babe, I really think you're handsome, and I think that your employment opportunities for a relationship with me are great. However.com, I don't like this.
Right.
Right.
They don't
Right.
want to say it because they've rolled over from Little Billy, Little Johnny, Little
Right.
Tommy,
Right.
What are your
to
Mm.
wants based on, Pastor?
mhm.
What are your wants based on? Are
Mm.
your
Well, a
wants
lot of
based
times,
on a standard that you got from the word, or is your wants based on what was modeled in front of you growing up, or
Mm. Good stuff.
is your wants based on what homeboy didn't do?
Ooh.
That's good.
yep, and a lot of
I don't
that
want you
That's
to vote.
good.
I
is
don't want you
culture
to vote
too.
for Hillary because you voting against Trump.
Right.
Right,
Absolutely.
Mm.
right,
Right.
Don't pick
right.
Absolutely.
me
That's
because
good.
you are
Very
against
much.
him.
That's good.
Right,
That's good.
right. And
That's
some
good.
of us, if we
That's
would
good.
reach back to the plethora of great relationships that we have in our legacy and our history, we actually should be gleaning from those who have had integrous marriages
Right.
and fortified relationships, good
Right.
communication. We look at the world and say, oh, well, he fine, he got a job, he got a car. That Negro can't communicate. That all of the
Mm.
tangible things mean nothing when you don't have a clue as to what makes you happy without them, so that when they come, all we're doing is adding to each other. Some of the things that I believe that we should do, especially Christians should have twofold desires. One, it should be to please God in your relationship. And number two, it should be what is going to be the legacy and inheritance that I leave to my
That's
children.
right.
My children can't bring me just anything. My son is still single and he's 32. And a lot of people are like, girl, how your son that fine? And I'm like, my son has a value system that has been embedded in him, but I also give him the word of God and tell him, you take these tools, you go build. Don't use my structure, don't use my framework only. Use those things that you've been given to build what you want and desire. Because everybody don't want a big house. Some people want a townhouse and multiple properties. So if in a relationship you want a multifaceted relationship, you should bring that to the table and see where in my heritage did I learn to have this desire. The fleshly
Right.
desires come and go. Everybody wants somebody fine, but Mr. Fine ain't got no intelligence. He
Mm.
doesn't have
Right.
a financial plan. He doesn't know how to save money. I'm only using it from the angle that I am because I'm a woman. And men
Mm.
look for someone who can manage their legacy. If you cannot be that woman's hero, you really need to think about why are you even in her life? If you
Mm.
can't rescue her from something, bring her into something, what are you doing? So our
Yeah.
desires have to be built on real. They can't be built on fake.
Mm.
Cisco,
And
I
I
see
mean,
Cisco. I see your wheels turn after Marquita gets done. I see Cisco brain over there fried up after Marquita gets done.
Well,
and to
I just
add
think
to
that
that,
we
I'm
we,
sorry.
we think. Go ahead, Makita. I'm sorry.
Oh no, well, to add to that, she mentioned something about being learned. The way we respond and the way we react, the way we choose. It's all because it was domesticated, it was learned from somewhere.
Right, right.
There's nothing that we came up with on our own. So it's like, where
Absolutely.
did you learn that from?
Right.
And to be transparent, I just came out of a 10-year marriage. So I'm now divorced. My thing is, I don't want to choose wrong based on what I learned in the marriage. So I'm
Absolutely.
Mm,
going to counseling.
Absolutely.
good
Good for
stuff.
you.
That's
I
right.
mean, and
Good for you.
that's just for
That's
me. And I think
wisdom.
if most
That's
people,
strong.
because if you're
Mhm.
if you're not sure about what you want and you're just trying to get this itch to feed the need, then you might learn more about you so that way
Right.
Yes.
you can know what you
Right.
want. So you need to
Right.
take your behind to counseling.
Right.
So I
Yes.
think that's what it
Right.
really stems from. Take your behind the counseling, figure out what's going on with your head, because when you're on a date, you want to know who's talking. Are you talking, or is it other voices that had experiences talking for you?
Right. Right.
That's
Mm,
right.
Right. Right. That's
I
good.
think that
That's good.
we got to understand that we're dynamic people. None of us will ever be the same after an encounter with somebody.
That's right.
Right.
You're going to see things different. You're going to learn. You're going to see it differently. You're going to say, you know what? Wow, I didn't know that about me, or I didn't know that about them. And I think that trying to hold on to something static when you're a dynamic, evolving person is unrealistic. And I think that
Mhm.
sometimes you got to, I can't change and grow or look at it differently. I
Mhm.
mean,
That's right.
because what you think this year, how I look at stuff because I'm 57, is how I look at stuff when I was 45. It's totally different.
mm-hmm.
Stuff that was really a big deal to me. And
That's
here's the
right.
thing:
That's
you
right.
make a lifetime commitment at X age, right?
Right. Right.
You go. Nobody wants to go back to that age that they made that lifetime commitment at and say this
Absolutely
is
not.
how you like.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
what makes it worthwhile is honesty and ongoing communication. Where you say, I looked at it like this. I don't see it like that now. But you
Mhm.
tell that person so they
Right.
know.
Right.
That's
You
right. That's
know, the
right.
idea that um, to me is the idea that you have to acknowledge that you are changing. And
Right.
and we say, well, I don't want to do things like I did in a relationship. To me, is if you choose what you don't want, that's still so small to what you do want. You got to
Mhm.
think about what you do want. And guess what? It's
Yeah.
okay to say, you know what? At this point in my life, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Right.
Mm,
Right.
And I don't feel
Right.
less of a man or denigrated to say
Right.
I'm still evolving. I haven't figured that out yet. Well,
Right.
I've had
mm,
people say, well, you should know what you want. Well, that's glad that's your opinion. I'm cool. What I'm
Mhm.
cool with is me being honest about where I'm at.
right,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
right.
Absolutely.
And that to me is like to me that's the truth because you could come up. I can repeat back to you. I can listen to you talk for 10, 15 minutes, hear what's important to you, repackage it, tell you back the same things that you said in a different way, and you're like, oh wow, you really know me. No, I know how to listen, and I know how to spit it back to you just like you did. And now we got this connection. You don't got a connection. I just picked what you
Right.
want and told you what you want. Why don't
Mm,
Right.
I'm more like to say, hey, no, let's shut it. I'm looking at this right now. This is how I view it, and I don't know. And I think sometimes you got to take the ego out of it because sometimes women will
Right.
tell you that you are less of a man if you don't have this plan that you know exactly what you want to do and all this. I'm like, because
Definitely.
the bottom line is, if you knew what you wanted and you were so specific about what you wanted, and I didn't fit in that, why are you wasting your time? You
Yeah.
here because
There
you
you go.
still trying to
Yeah.
figure it
There you
out.
Yeah.
go.
what's up,
There you go.
right?
That's good.
That's a
That's good.
spade.
I'm gonna
We
go.
call a spade a spade. It is what it
Right.
is.
That's real talk though. But you know what? Like you said, when we encounter these individuals, and Marquita, I have to applaud you for handling that the way that you're handling. I've been there, done that, and I stayed in counseling for like 6 years, ongoing. I didn't
Mm,
even stop. And it wasn't because I needed it after a certain amount of time. I just found great value in understanding who I was, who I had become after that long term relationships. uh, you become a totally different person after those relationships dissolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
nowhere near the person you were when you
Yes.
stepped into that
Yes.
relationship.
Exactly.
So
Hmm.
Yes.
a lot of these, if anybody's ever been in a long term commitment past a decade, and you actually have to sever that tie, it not only takes something out of you, but it puts something in you. So
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
figure out who you have become as a result of that transaction and who you have to leave as a result of that transaction as well. Because a part of what has happened in order for you to get to the dissolution is something you need to leave.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in order for the evolution component to take place after the dissolution, you've got to be able to release what was, to deal with who is, to become who you
Exactly.
intend to be after that fact, and to
Hmm.
and to get in your mind and your total head space. Hey, this is one part I know emphatically that I will not be carrying anywhere with me, regardless of if it's a relationship. It may be a personality trait that was a
Mhm.
problem, and if it was a problem for one person, it's a strong possibility it'd be a problem for the next one, because we
Correct.
do have character flaws that we need to accept and deal with and address, and not sweep this
Yeah.
stuff under the rug. So a lot of this dismissive behavior is character flaws. People have character defects and flaws that they have not addressed, which actually feeds into all of that negative behavior, that dismissive negative behavior. That's derogatory and demeaning behavior for you to treat another person as though they're
Yeah.
not as much valuable as you are. To do that
But
to anybody is devaluing them. Whether
you,
you choose to be with them or not is your business, but don't devalue them while you walking out.
you know,
Part
I
of
have
that
noticed.
is because
Oh, go ahead.
people don't have the ability, and I've said this before, they do not possess the capacity to love imperfect people because they themselves are imperfect and we are ever changing, ever evolving.
Right.
You will not be with a person this year and that same spirit of person exists next year. And if you can't be more forgiving and more understanding of that person's change, because we don't change at the same time. I
Right.
look at how
Right.
some of these long-term 40-year relationships, they were like elevators passing in a tower, because at one moment one person may have been higher than another one, then the next minute someone else is higher, and they were okay with that because they realized, I'm coming up to where you are soon, baby, just wait on me, or
Mhm.
bring me to
Mm.
where you are.
Right.
Most times people do not want to cultivate the healthy communication in their relationship that will allow them to say, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, let's see if we can really push past our imperfections, to not dismiss one another, but to embrace the differences,
Right.
embrace change, evolve together, and get into the long term. Because the goal is long term relationship, but so many
Right.
people are so optional. They make people optional, which is so unfair to calling it a relationship, but it's not a relationship at all. It's
Absolutely.
actually an
Hmm.
acquaintance.
That's a
You have
placeholder. That's
acquaintances
a
that
placeholder.
you don't like. You got all
Right.
these toys in your toy box. When the
Right.
truth is, you need to grow up and
Right.
communicate those things that are necessary to keep you healthy.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mr.
And
Tisha.
yes, yes. So piggybacking on that, real quick, Cece. Some people need to tear down the playgrounds. Some
Yeah,
people are
that
playing
part.
because we
They
set
playing
up
too
playgrounds
much.
for them to play.
Yeah,
But here's the other
yeah,
part. The dismissive nature to me has become the new language because some people simply they lack the gift of clarity. Like you,
yeah,
Cece. You're the type of person that can say, you know what, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. Take care. That's a lot because that's equivalent to the person that's the HR person that can fire someone. Not
Right.
everybody can do that. So
Right.
sometimes when
I'm a
you're
little
when
more
you're being
generous.
clear, yeah, to end these relationships or do
Right.
these different things like that, sometimes people want to say, yeah, I can do that, but they don't have the inner courage to do it. So there's two types of dismissive behaviors on display. There's the one where the modern day one now where people are not even forget about the relationship. It's the I went out with Bruce. Well, girl, how'd that day go? Girl, he didn't even pay. I blocked him. That's the
Ah.
first part. That's that
Yeah,
whole
yeah, that
dismissive.
does
I'm just
happen.
gonna block your number, not take your call no more, nothing. The
Right.
other dismissive part comes because we fall once we fall intimately and sexually, people cannot handle making that divide. So the easiest way for them to do it is to just evaporate because they're connected to you internally. It's hard for them to look in Bruce's face and say, I just can't do this no more because they're gonna look at Bruce, they're gonna get nostalgic, they're gonna think about the intimate things and they're gonna be captured. So
Yep.
their answer is to just cut this off and disappear. That's the only way I can deal with him. That's the
Wow.
only way I can
Mhm.
handle it. You
Wow.
know.
But you know what? The sad part about that is with the dismissive nature doesn't come the cancellation. They're not walking away. They just
Mm.
No.
behaving. They have an
Yeah.
Mm.
exited behavior, but they're still physically present.
Right.
although you're displaying exited behavior. I'm gonna go to the comments. We got a lot of comments in the chat if you guys don't mind.
All right.
Joy Daniel says we need to change and do new things. I hate the same old, same old. Katonio says good stuff. You only dismiss what you think you have an abundance of. Gracia says it's not always there when you reach back. That's good. That's good because somebody was talking about the reaching back. Oh, you shared earlier when you were talking about the reaching back when somebody just says they put somebody in a placeholder and they think they're gonna go back and they still gonna be in that same place where they left them at.
And they're not.
And they're not. Joy Daniel says some people don't like changes but want to change other people for their liking. Very true. Gracie says many questions people just do not ask. Social media has given a smorgasbord of options. And it's really not a smorgasbord of options, it's a smorgasbord of deceit. Because you can be whoever you want to be on social media. That's not who these people really are. You know, you can, let me tell you, so I'm gonna tell y'all this story. I hate to have to say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell on something. But how do I say this? I was giving this guy an opportunity to get to know me, right? And so we have been hanging out and going doing stuff, whatever. So one day he told me he was in Denver, Colorado, right? And so I said, that's interesting. So me being the investigative ministry person that I am, I should have been a detective in the police department. But anyway, so I looked at the time between the time I talked to him in Houston and how long it took to get to Denver, and something just wasn't adding up, right? I said, myself said,
Right.
go ahead and investigate, right? So I said, so have you made it to Denver yet? So he texted me back and said, yes, right? Now, there hadn't been any exchange of DNA, no swap of bodily fluids of any sorts. Thank God for the ministry of preservation on tonight. And so he said, yeah, I made it safely. I took a picture and I put it on Facebook of the airport, right? I said, oh, okay, cool. Now, mind you, this dummy took the picture, but then this, y'all, on the picture it said Fresno, Texas, on the location thing, because he forgot to change the location.
Oh.
So when you put something on there, if your locator is on, it's gonna tell where you really are.
It'll tell where you are.
Right.
Yeah. So he's talking about, I made it to Phoenix safely, and I said, is it? I said, but I thought Phoenix was spelled with a P, not an F.
Oh, Lord.
And so he didn't even catch what I was saying, because I did it on the post. I did it right on the post. I said I thought Phoenix was spelled with a P, not an F.
He ain't catch it. Fresno.
Ain't even catch it. Fresno is with an F, but you saying you in Phoenix, which starts with a P.
Well, what was in Fresno?
And see,
Fresno is here in Houston area. It's
I see.
It's a suburb of Houston. And I told him, I said, listen, I know that you're in the connecting phase of identifying who you want to roll with or whatever, right? This is that dismissive behavior. I said, but you don't have to lie about anything because I'm not with you. I'm not gonna lose. It don't affect me either way. It doesn't bother me because I'm not your woman. So you don't lie at all. Just tell the truth. Just say, like Cisco said, this is the truth. It's one of the main things tonight. If we could take away anything, when people act dismissive, a lot of times they are dismissing somebody.
Yep.
They getting rid of somebody and making room for somebody else. Okay. So if people could just go ahead and just be forthcoming, be real frank, and say, listen, I'm working on eliminating the team. This is what I'm doing. I'm working on eliminating the team. So in the process of eliminating the team, I want you to be the first round draft pick. But it's other people in the equation to date. So I'm gonna be dismissing.
And that gives you the opportunity to decide: do you want to wait for the Final Four, or do you want to just step out on your own?
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna tell you how traumatic that can be. Very traumatic. And I want to share this only because of what we're talking about. This is personal. I was married when you met me. I think you met my husband, Koffe. I was married to a man who had been in my life for 9 years. We were friends, then we dated, then we got married. only for me to find out he was married to someone else. Now, I didn't go to jail. Thank you, Jesus. But
And I
what
have to
I
say, Carrie,
told him was,
I didn't like him at all. I didn't like him.
I know you didn't. I know. I remember.
I
But
did
listen,
not like that man.
I know.
Every time I
Listen,
saw him, I used to roll my
but this is
eyes.
my thing. I think what bothered me was, and I told him this, and I was thankful that I could communicate this. I said, what you did not do was communicate to me so that I could have the right to choose.
That's right.
When
That's right.
people become dismissive, don't just act like the other people ain't on the team.
Absolutely.
If he would have just told the truth, I would have
Right.
made different decisions, and I would have made my own decision as to whether or not he was good enough for me to wait.
Right.
And the truth was, in hindsight, and I told him, because I had the raw chicken out. I said, you know what? You knew you weren't good enough for me to wait on.
On tonight.
I'm better than that. So, and it's not to be all arrogant and haughty and all that. My point was, at that time, I wasn't dating a whole bunch of people and putting myself out there like that. I was resolved that, you know what, we've been friends a long time. There's no way that deceit could come from a friend. And that's why I tell people, don't come to me with oh, I've known him for a long time, or I've known her for a long time, and I think now's the time to go to the next level. Time is not an element anymore
Right.
for
Right.
when it's time
Right.
to go to the next level.
Right.
The resolve is, we've got to find out, who do we need to dismiss, and can you communicate it to the person you really want to be with and say, you know what, before I met you, I was dating a couple of other people, but I'm really into you, and if you would allow me to not wean off, you got to cut off people.
Right.
See, I
Right.
tell them, we want cake and we want to eat it too. You want
Right.
cake, cookies, ice
Right.
cream, and all these desserts. And like Bruce said earlier, that stuff makes you sick.
It
You
does.
got to be more
Much of it.
consolidated in your thinking so that you can decide, is this what I want, and am I what they want?
Absolutely.
It's got to be a mutual understanding so that dismissal doesn't come on the wrong side of the fence. Because there are people you do need to dismiss.
Absolutely.
You do need to dismiss,
But
like Peter was saying, those people that you had in your past, you got to cut them off.
That's
Don't keep
right.
their number in your phone and delete them from your Facebook page, because when
Right.
they call, you don't know who that is.
Right.
Exactly.
But you know
But
what?
people saying like, hell no, or not today, or we've been there. Change their name in your phone if you're going to keep their number.
Right.
Pete Coffee, you said something earlier, but maybe when you were talking about the guy in the Fresno situation. You know, while there's never an excuse, like I said, there's no excuse for a grown person to have to lie. But do you know why people sometimes lie and come across dismissive? Because sometimes what they're trying to tell you in a soft way is, it's almost like being in a busy restaurant and the chef and someone's complaining at this table and they're saying, I'm sorry, sir, just work with us. We're working on it. But guess what dish is going to go out first? The person who has the easiest order. Sometimes they're not ready for your order. Your order might be a lot, and he's like, you know what? She's nice, I like her, but she be doing too much. And let me tell her I'm in Phoenix because I ain't got to deal with her wanting me to take her out this weekend. So let me just get that off the plate, and I'm somewhere way over there, but he's really in your backyard. But he's saying that, and that's a soft way of saying you asking for too much. So instead of me hurting your feelings, let me give it to you softly this way. You know what I'm saying? That's really what
That's
it
what
is.
he said. That's what he basically
Yeah, that's
told
what
me.
it's all
And
about.
that, I mean,
He
What
said
hurt
to
the
me,
person's feelings?
he said to me that this is what he said to me. He said I wasn't ready. He said when I met you, I wasn't ready for you.
Yeah, tell you. Yeah.
So he said I just couldn't handle. He was like you were. He said you when he asked me questions like, where you see yourself in 10 years? What you see yourself doing? I mean, I know. I know exactly what I'm gonna be doing. I know exactly where I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna know exactly how I'm gonna get there. I know the steps it's gonna take me to get there. Blah 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 blah. So he said when he met me, he looked at me from a physical perspective, but he didn't know what he was dealing with on the intellect. So it's
Right.
like I saw you, you was cute, you looked the way I wanted you to look, but I didn't know you had a brain. Basically.
Mm.
So
I
he
can't
was
believe
like, I wasn't really ready to handle all of you. And I had a lot of stuff that I still wasn't done with. So instead of me, he said, I didn't even know, I didn't know how to tell you the truth about what I was doing when I was doing it. And I said, that's all well and good, but you don't owe me nothing. That was my whole point in a nutshell. You don't owe me anything. I don't
Mm.
have a vested interest in you. You don't have a vested interest. It was just a time of connecting, getting to know somebody. And that's another thing too. When people start out, Like you said, CC said, even the other day when you had a post of Charles, when you were talking about the fitted jar. Remember when you
Mm-hmm.
talking about those jars and
Yeah.
how to find the right fit? Because you know you can.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Carrie can. I know Carrie and Marquita probably can attest to this too. Have y'all ever made anything pickled or anything like that in a mason jar, or seen somebody in the family do it from
Mm-hmm.
back in the day?
Yeah.
You remember how your grandmother used to take all the stuff, you put it in hot water for the mason jar to purify the jars and blah blah blah, right? Okay. Well, when they took the lids off, they didn't put the lid right by the right jar.
Right.
They just threw the
Mm-hmm.
lids
Right.
everywhere. So you remember when we was kids, everybody was trying to grab a lid and put it on the jar where it fit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what people need to do. Put the stuff where it fits.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it right where it fits instead of trying to treat this one like that or treat that. Put that where it goes. Put it all
Yeah.
where it goes. And if you're going to dismiss somebody, be frank about it. Be truthful about it. Say, hey, but
Be
dismissal is what
honest.
Carrie said. Dismissal is denied access, period.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to
Mm-hmm.
really not have dismissive behavior, but if you're going to dismiss somebody, it needs to be a closed case to where they
Close the.
have no more access. It's like I told one of the shows we had a while ago, Charles, I was talking about the blocking ministry. When I
Yeah.
talk about the blocking ministry, I'm talking about everything blocked. I'm
Yes.
not talking about
Yes.
one facet. I'm talking about
Yep.
every facet to where
Everything.
if you get access to me, you're good. You're real good if you get access to me after I do all of the
Yep.
blocking
I
ministry. Man,
am.
I'm shutting
Mm-hmm.
you down. If I say I'm done, I am done. I
I'm
don't bother.
all the way done.
I don't want you
Mm-hmm.
But
bothering
let me
me.
but let me ask you this: if we are done, why do we have to block? Because done is internal.
You know
No,
why?
listen,
Well, sometimes
being
they
done.
reach
You know
back
why?
for
You know
you
why?
after
Because
you
everybody
dismiss
doesn't
them.
accept the
Okay.
dismissing. Everybody
All
That's
doesn't
right.
right.
accept the dismissing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you never know how a person is going to respond to the end of the thing. We
All
don't
right.
know. So
Yep.
Okay.
at the conclusion of the whole matter, you and I could say, you know what, Charles, I don't want to deal with you no more. You can say, oh, okay, P Coffee, it's cool, we done, blah blah blah. And in the back of your mind, you like, she ain't really done with me. All I gotta do is wait a few weeks. So a lot
Yeah.
of people they think that means temporary, especially if you've been one of those kind of people that bounce back, that go back and forth. The
Yeah.
open door policy ministry,
Right.
people who have those open door syndromes. If and they really get to a point where they say I'm shutting the door for real this time, the person on the receiving end think you the girl that cried or the boy that cried wolf, that you're gonna keep doing
Mm.
what you've always done. So you have to block those people for sure because you've been playing the whole time. You dig what I'm saying?
And
I
sometimes
understand.
even blocking can be aggressive to me and for me. I'll only block you if I feel like I'm gonna have to put a gun in your head to get rid of you. For
Right,
Mm.
me,
right.
I said this on social media a while ago. Don't just delete them off your social media page. Get them out of your phone. Get rid of all those emails. Delete the pictures.
Absolutely.
So when they
Everything
do reach
pertaining to
back
you.
for you, I had that happen to me a couple years ago where someone I had broken up with years ago when I was in my 30s. They called and said, no, they text me and said, happy birthday. I said, thanks. Who is this? And the response was, oh,
Yeah.
wow, you don't know my number? No, because you're not relevant and or important. So at that point, I blocked. Why? Because you didn't accept the dismissal. When I dismiss you from class, you don't get to sit in the classroom because I got other people coming in to learn.
Right.
So when you get dismissed from class, go to the next phase. I've given you the opportunity to go get what you want because I'm going
Mm,
to get what I want.
mm.
However, I've communicated thoroughly enough that you shouldn't be reaching back. When they come back for you and you've given them access, you are partially responsible
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
communication that takes place between you because you can't really get mad if you kept them in that outer
In a
circle.
circle.
They
All
shouldn't
right.
be in the circle at all.
Yeah.
Once they were in the inner circle and then you push them to the outer circle, they should not be in the circle at all. But it should be done with the dignity and respect that we owe to each other as adults who are mature enough to say, you know what, you're a great person, but you're just not what I want. And they should be mature enough to say, I appreciate you telling
Appreciate it.
me
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And maybe we can be friends. No, wait a minute. I don't need no friends right now. I'm just telling you that I'm cutting you off and I really want you to give me all the space I need to go on with my life.
Mm,
Mm.
mm.
Because so many
I
times
think that
people say, oh, well,
That's
we can
good.
be friends. Why are you being friends with somebody you gave your cookies to? And then when they come in the room with your new husband or new wife or new someone special, you feeling some kind of way and the temperature change because you having a flashback of when they penetrated you. You
Uh-huh.
should cut
Mm,
without
mm.
even
Mhm.
any regard of that emotional attachment because that kind of attachment can bring destruction long term.
You're
Can I
right.
Absolutely.
add to that?
You know, Kimberly Adiva said something in the chat. She said, I have found
Bruce.
that if you are completely honest and forthcoming, people that can't handle the dismissal are on BS or are not the right lid or right fit, dismiss themselves. I've been told many times my truth is overwhelming. Mm. And then Sharon Cope says they lie because the false narrative serves as a safety net to catch the right bait while fishing in the pond. Mm. Wow. Wow.
Bruce was saying something.
Mr. Bruce has something to say.
Go ahead, Bruce.
To shift it into another gear when it comes to why we are so dismissive. I think that we are giving a lot of information that is not effective to what
Mm,
we are dealing with in our real life. I think first and foremost, when it comes to the church, right? Bear with me for a second. When it comes to the church, the gospel is about relationships
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
and the sacrifice in relationships, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He sacrificed his life for us.
mhm,
That's love.
Mm.
But the gospel and the message that has been taught to us for the past 30 plus years has been about prosperity, not about delayed gratification, not about suffering
mm,
in the relationship. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
None of those principles are the foremost highlighted principles.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
For some people.
The principles that's being taught in the gospel now is sow and reap. You sow this
Mm-hmm.
money, you get this money, prosperity, great
Mm-hmm.
living, everything's
Mm-hmm.
going to be hunky dory. But that's not the gospel.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
So why am I comparing these things? I am saying that we are not taught, y'all, that in our relationships, it's about sacrifice.
mm,
It's about dying for that other person.
Hmm.
So now, because we are not taught those things, we are not approaching our love affairs that I should be giving up something.
mm,
Hmm.
I
Mm.
should be sacrificing something. Our
And
whole
forgiving.
posture
Hmm.
is about what can I get? How am I
mm,
going to
Right.
prosper? How are you going to
mm,
please me?
Right.
mm,
Me. And when you are not doing that, when you are not pleasing me,
mm,
because I am not addressing the real things that are hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not dating to sacrifice for you. I'm not even dating to grow with you. I'm
mm,
dating to be served for you to please
Mm.
me.
That's
mm.
it.
I'm getting high. You got to please me.
Hmm.
So if it looks like you are not going to be able to do that, I'm going to easily dismiss you
Mm. Right.
Wow.
because you are not here to serve me.
Wow.
If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
It
Makes
does. And
perfect
that's
sense.
why I was saying that our culture has shifted through the years. I saw self sacrifice in relationships in my family, and I saw giving, I saw forgiveness, I saw unconditional love. And I don't see that in the world around me. So I have to reach back to my teachings to get an eye for what I desire. Because if I look in my immediate present state of living, like you said, Bruce, they don't teach that now. Even I've had to, even in single sessions where people go in talking about uh, well, me, my, I, those me, my, I situations literally have contaminated the true love that was demonstrated in the Bible for us to go by. And that's why I said we have to reach to the Word of God and we have to reach into our rich heritage because we have some heritage that's not so rich, but we do
Mm-hmm.
have heritage that's rich enough that shows women and men in sacrificial giving and love and impartation so that it was a constant growth effort. My grandmother stabbed my grandfather a quarter inch from his heart because he cheated, but they stayed
Mm.
together 50 years.
Oh, have
And that
mercy.
was because
How many years
there was
after
so much.
how many years after the stabbing? How many years was it after the stabbing?
Well, no, that happened 3 years into the marriage because
Whoa.
he was
He was
partying and
scared.
drinking. She was saved, you stupid. She was partying and drink. He was partying and drinking. She was saved and serving
Wow.
God. But she told him, I will not give you over to the devil because I believe that we're supposed to be together. Most people don't believe in their own hearts that they're supposed to be with the person that they're reaching for. They're just reaching for what's convenient. And as
Right.
Bruce said, well, we've got to sacrifice, forgive, and love. If you can't do that, then why are you even trying to be in a relationship in the first place? Because your example of relationship is tainted by your fleshly desires.
Mm.
But the sacrificial part is related to the marriage, right? Not just dating somebody. You're talking about
No, but see, this is the
dying out
thing.
to your
We
to
have
your mate.
we I won't go there
Okay.
because for me, I
Okay.
believe that sacrifice starts and giving starts in the initial contact when you get that aha moment. You ever have somebody
Right.
that you encounter and you're like, I don't know who you are to me, but I know you're somebody.
Mm.
Those are the things that you've got to consume your thought process with. What if that is the one and I just don't know him yet?
Right.
Mm.
I don't know everything I need to know.
Yeah.
We've got to go in with a mindset of sacrifice, giving, and forgiveness. Because if you don't, you're going in selfish. You're
Very
Right.
literally going to start off wrong
right.
because your motive is wrong from the very beginning. You've got to give something to get
Right.
something. And it does not, our problem is we sow to reap. When the
Right.
truth is, we reap to sow.
Right.
We have got to get in a different mindset when it comes to
Right.
relationship building, because if I gotta wait till you give me a ring to start sacrificing, to start giving, to
That's a
start
problem.
interceding for you,
That's a problem.
Right.
that's a major problem.
Right.
If
But
there
see,
is no
and
integrity there
that's a real
waiting,
sticky. It's a real sticky slope because it's also why a lot of people are still messed up to this day because they gave too much in being
yeah,
single, and when they got because there has to be something left for the
oh,
ceiling.
boundaries,
The
Right.
whole
all
ring is like
boundaries.
look at those superhero movies when they kind of tap into that special place. That's when all of those powers come together.
Right.
So there has to be something left for the ceiling. It can't just be
It
all
does.
given beforehand,
No,
or there
no,
won't
but
be no
you can't
respect
go
after the
too
fact.
far.
Yeah,
You
But
can't
you
yeah,
go
know
too
what?
far if you
that's
have
right.
to
Yeah,
Communication needs to
discern and
take
have
place
boundaries.
in that. The
right, right.
Can
communication
I
needs to
ask that sister
there's some
something?
communication that needs to take place when you talk about this whole idea before the say I do. There has to
Right.
be
Mhm.
some communication to take place
Yes,
as far as
yes.
what we are going to say for the marriage, regardless, period. This is what we're
Right.
saving for the I do. You know,
Correct.
we have to give something in order to, you got to
You got
give
to get
something
to that.
while you're in the
You got to
commitment,
build.
while you're in the courtship. You got to give something. You can't just not give anything, you know. But like you said, Charles, there's a thin line between you're doing wifely duties without the permission slip and without
Right,
the
right.
covenant and the connection versus I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart because this is an anticipation of what you
Hmm.
shall receive. Like basically saying,
Yeah.
basically saying, hey, I'm showing you the
A
actual
glimpse. A
package. I'm
glimpse. A
showing you
glimpse.
the
Yeah.
present, but you
It's
can't
a
open
glimpse.
it just yet. You can't unwrap it
Yeah,
just yet. It's the same. It's a. I give you the
like
analogy of
Christmas presents.
Christmas time. We put the
Yep.
tree up way before Christmas happens, right? We start stuffing
Hmm.
presents down underneath the tree with everybody's name on it, right? So Charles, your name is on the package. It says clearly Charles, but Charles can't open it until Christmas morning. But your
Hmm.
name is on that package.
Right.
So
Or
you
like the four or like the 401k package where your job will say we'll match what you contribute. But you
Yep.
can't take it out until
You
you're
can't
ready to
take it out.
retire.
There you
Sealed.
go.
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hmm.
There you go.
I
Same
mean, I
concept.
have a
But you
question.
guys, let's go. Let's hit to a few of these comments because it's something that I wanted Cisco to speak to. Somebody said something here. I wanted Cisco to respond to it. But I'm gonna go through just a couple of them and then we're gonna shut down, you guys. So it's getting late. It's already after 10 in
You know how
East
we are.
Coast. You know, this is awesome. Katonia Jackson says she loves the transparency and truth of the minds of the guys. Some of it may sting, but it's real. Miss Rika Benson says, but at the same time, if I'm clear in what I want, then take my words. Don't try and hear things that I'm not saying. Joy
Right.
says we have to get to know ourselves first. Some people are still not sure who they are because they're always changing their minds to fit who they want to be. Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. There's something that there's something that was on here that I wanted him to speak to real quick. Ebony Mitchell says intelligence, stability, love of God, etc. can make anyone fine as wine. We must stop looking through the physical eyes and look through the spiritual eyes. You can have a fine partner all day, but if they are broke and have bad attitudes and lack of intelligence, they will start to look unpleasing. That's very true.
Mhm.
Here it is, Cisco. Janice Westbrook says, I apologize. I'm very late to the conversation, but isn't there some valid reason that dismissing a person is the healthiest way to end a relationship of their if there are signs that they can't handle otherwise in a healthy way? The better of two evils, perhaps? Question mark.
Well, I think that your first obligation is self-preservation.
Mm.
Mm,
It's your first obligation. And so if you see that it's not going to work, or they're not going to respect you and your wishes,
mhm.
I'm a big proponent of rewarding people. I reward you with my presence or my absence.
Excellent.
Not
Wow.
I'm not gonna put out the energy either way. But
Right.
if I feel like a vibe, like, hey, this, I'll leave
This
it
is
alone.
working. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you just like that. I've had situations where sometimes somebody goes off and like get way out the box, and I can either come at it, but like, I can be disrespectful back, or I can say, you know what, I respect that's how you feel. You've expressed how you
Hmm.
feel. I'm good.
Mhm.
Now you can say that's dismissive, but I'm not going to. You're not going to push me to respond
Like you.
equally
Yeah.
back at you. I'm just let it
Yeah.
go. And,
Mm.
and, and I just think that sometimes you got to just be honest about it. I think most of the stuff, if you're honest, honesty is a disinfectant and a light giver. Because
Mm.
you just say what you got to say. They don't like it. They want you to like
Mm.
back off what you said. No, I said what I said. I meant what I said,
Right.
Mm.
and leave it
That's
right
good stuff.
there.
Yeah,
You
that's
Mhm.
don't got
good.
to
That's good.
you don't got to explain it. Like because that way it's no wiggle room. I'm like, and I just that's how I look at it. I just think if we just be honest. Sometimes it's not even dismissing somebody. It's a sensation of attention.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm just, ain't because ain't nothing bad happened. Ain't nobody mad at each other. It's just like that's not that if there's not energy being exchanged, that's not a
Mm.
dismissal. That's not you're not. There's nothing to feed back into.
Mm.
And I think it don't have to be a bad thing. It ain't got to be evil. It ain't got to be you a butt or I'm a jerk or you a it and I'm a this.
Yeah.
It's just like
Just a choice. Mhm.
Mm.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to stop talking. That
Right.
doesn't make you an evil person.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially when
Especially
it
when
gets
there's nothing
heated
bad. There's
and
no bad
disrespectful.
energy.
When it starts to get ugly, dismissal is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says, "Don't waste your breath on fools." And so many times we've gotten into foolish situations because it wasn't nurtured properly, or maybe even the other person's motives got exposed at a time that they maybe have tried to conceal some things. But there are times when you have to, like a computer, you have to shut it down to keep from getting to a level of disrespect or lowering your own character standards. Sometimes we have tried to string people along to try to help them when that's not your assignment. If they're
Mm.
not your assignment, let them go. Move them out of the
Well,
way. And,
I think what
you
you
know,
can do
do
right
a good
there
job.
is just say, Carrie, what you can do right there is say, hold up. I see this is something that could help you. And let's
That's too
let's
much.
stop the other thing for a minute and let me just
Right.
speak to this. And if they're your friend
Right.
and you
Mhm.
trying to help them, they'll
Right.
hear it.
If they're your
Right.
friend. The thing
But I'm
is,
saying,
we've got to
but I
get a
think
friendship first.
but
You got
if
to
you
get a
care
friendship.
about them, you should at least say, hey, you know what? We ain't got to go this way. But here's a question for you, and then put it to them like that. You might want to think about that in the future.
Right.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you have some insight that they could benefit from. They may not. They may blow it off. But
Mm.
One of the things I say is, can I help you grow?
yeah,
And it's not so much to grow to where I may be, it's
yeah,
literally to grow from where they are.
Yeah.
You have to ask permission to train
Absolutely.
people. You cannot assume that because you have a wealth of knowledge in a certain area of relationship building that they're willing to receive it. Because some people, like someone, Marquita said it earlier, some people are not willing to change.
Mhm.
They feel like
but
their way is the right way, the only way, and they want to stay there. when they haven't
Maturity.
even acknowledged that they're going to grow and change themselves. So sometimes you can ask, can I help you grow in this area? And if they say no, why are you going to continue to try to fight for that when that's not your assignment?
And here's what thing. You talking about helping. Just when I know what you said, I can hear you. But if we're talking and you say to me, train, the man in me be like, whoa, 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 train.
Oh, I said help. I said help.
Said
I said
train.
help.
You said train.
You said train.
No,
You said
I
train.
said help. The language to the man would be, can I help you grow? It's not
Exactly.
about me telling them that I'm training. Because see,
And that's
this
what
is
I'm
the
saying.
thing.
I
So
heard your
many
heart.
times, and that's where ego gets in the way. Ego
Yeah.
gets
That's
in
what
the
I'm saying.
way
I
when
said,
you
and I
say you're
acknowledge that.
not.
I heard your heart. I know what you're saying. You're looking to better the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't questioning that. I'm just, it's funny how people look
Your
at that
ego
around here
swole up
when I'm
real
trying
bad. You ain't gonna train me nothing. I get it.
train. Yeah, learn to train.
I ain't no dog.
You know, the men's
Exactly.
ministry be like, you gonna do what with it?
Roll over. Start. Yeah.
The men's
And
ministry was
that's
like,
when,
what you
hey,
say?
and
You gonna
that's
do
when
what?
the fight starts.
So, and see, this is the thing. A good king recognizes his queen.
Yeah.
If she can uphold the kingdom that he has built on any level, whether it's legacy, whether it's physical inheritance, whether it's good health, whether it's the wisdom of God, there are so many things that we can complement one another on. Because I say that all the time, no man can complete me and I can't complete a man. I can
Absolutely
complement
not.
Correct.
Right.
what
Absolutely
is being presented to me, or I can leave it alone for someone else to complement.
not. Absolutely.
Mhm.
The thing is, some people don't like to be dismissed, and some people don't know how to dismiss. Some people also don't know when to dismiss.
Right.
And
Right.
and again, going back to the foundation of what you put on the table, which one is appropriate for whom? We have this plethora of options when we should narrow down what is it, like Bruce said, what do you want?
Right.
Tell me what you want, and
And
I'll tell you whether
where's
or
it
not.
coming from? And where
Yeah,
where's what you want
what,
coming
yeah,
from? What's the
are you,
source?
and because see, sometimes, like Marquita pointed out, you can help channel someone's healing once you realize they don't even know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So let me
Hmm.
help you. This is what I have to offer. But if that's not for you, at least let me show you a better way to attain what you're trying to get.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Can I ask Marquita a
and
question?
that's true. That's true giving. That's true
Yeah.
sharing.
So what we're gonna
And
do
that's
now,
a
you guys, we're
sacrifice
gonna
from
go
you.
ahead and kind of like shut it down. It's getting to be it's around 9:21, which is 10:21 y'all's time. So we're gonna do just go around the table and basically get the takeaway from tonight. What you thought, what you're sensing about this narrative and this topic, your final thoughts on it. Marquita, I know you were getting ready to say something. Go ahead and say what you want to say, Ladybug.
I don't even know. I would say my takeaway would be um, dismissive behavior derives from people not knowing what they want. And it comes from not knowing what you want. It means you don't really know yourself. So my takeaway would be, yeah, just know what you want. And then from knowing what you want, then you can kind of, shy away from all the dismissive behavior.
Absolutely. To thine own self be true.
Hmm.
Mm.
I say,
Bruce,
Spear.
Bruce, I know you got something in your brain over there. I see it stirred up.
The definition of wisdom is to celebrate, is to recognize difference. Charles and Cisco are very deep black men, but there's something different in each of their uniqueness.
Absolutely.
Wisdom is having the ability to detect that difference. Honor is celebrating that difference.
Mhm.
I want to honor Cisco. I want to celebrate that unique thing about him that makes him different from Charles.
Right.
I want to honor Charles by celebrating that thing that makes him different than Cisco.
Mhm.
We have lost honor
Mhm.
in the black community. We no longer seek to find the individual things about each other that makes us unique. and we
Mhm.
don't
Wow.
celebrate each other anymore.
Wow. That's good.
There's no honor.
That's
So
good.
we operate in dishonor.
Mm.
Mm.
Like it
Mm.
said in the book of Romans, how we begin to dishonor ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
dishonor our bodies amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
So because we don't celebrate difference, because we don't honor each other, it's all about spreading that body around.
Mm. My Lord.
And when all we do is spread that body around, we fornicating all over the place, we baking cookies all over the place. We don't take a moment. We don't take a moment to celebrate a person's individual thing that makes them unique. It
That's
Mhm.
makes
good.
it very easy for us to dismiss people like that
Right.
Mm.
because we are not identifying them as an individual. We are lumping them in the collective. Everybody is the same, and only a fool treats everybody the same way.
Right.
Yes.
The wise distinguishes difference amongst people and celebrates it. The
That's all.
black community is lacking this. We're lacking honor. The body of Christ is lacking honor. And because of those things, it is very easy for us to just dismiss each other with no value.
Wow.
Mm.
That's what
Good
I'm taking
stuff.
away from.
Good
That's
stuff.
good. That's good. Cisco?
Well, I think one of the things about when people think, I think about being dismissive. First of all, it's a power move. It's like, okay, what you giving me, I've judged it, and I'm just dismissing. No big deal. I want to exert power over you. I want to play the one that the arbitrator of your worth.
Mm.
And I'm saying that so when somebody dismisses you, it should not make you angry. It should make you see they've expressed their appreciation, and basically they've said they put a value on your time and attention,
Mm.
and they are telling you exactly what it's worth to them.
Mm.
It's up to you to accept that value or not. If you accept it, the price going down.
Mm.
If you withdraw it and keep it to yourself, now what you was willing to give away, now it's like if you can make your attention priceless to somebody. How do you make it priceless?
Mm.
No amount of money, time, or words out of your mouth can ever get it again. Now it's priceless. Before that, it was
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Good
Wow.
stuff.
Wow. Carrie, what's your
Wow.
takeaway, Ladybug?
Mine is more of a overcoming dismissive behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Bible teaches us that if we have an ought with one another, we should go to each other. Go
Mm.
to the person that you are not in agreement with and tell them. We should use discernment and tact and prayerful consideration. We honor, prefer one another in a sense of, would I want it done to me this way? No.
Right.
So I want to give what I want to receive. If we can
Mm.
learn to have the power to love and forgive and to honor and to respect imperfect people by first looking at the mirror of our own lives and then handing out to people what we want them to give to us. So
Mm.
my take is that we should overcome dismissive behavior with the character of a true believer. As
Mhm.
Christ loved the church, we have to be sacrificial, giving, and forgiving.
That's good.
And if we
Good
could
stuff.
teach that more, we could learn to see the fruit of our labor in our teaching so that we don't have children who act eradicated from what they've seen in the negative in the world.
That's
Mm.
good.
All right.
Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon.
I'll say, if you're going to be a person, if you're choosing dismissive as your language,
Mm-hmm.
make sure. I thought about this from Gracie's comment earlier. Make sure about the off the shelf, right? Remember you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that
yeah.
she
I
may
saw
not
that.
be there,
I saw
but
that.
here's
Yeah.
the issue: if you're going to be dismissive, don't just be absent from the shelf. Be discontinued. Because you can be
Mm.
back ordered. So you can be called right back on up and come right on, be
That's good.
recycled around if you just move
That's
yourself
good.
from the shelf. It doesn't mean you're done. It just means you're mad at that person for the season and you're going to go into your quiet place and then resurface and be like, what you up to? You ain't discontinued. If you done, be done. And the other
Be
one,
Right.
done.
really quick, I was going to say is about the part about giving. We were talking about giving. I think Cece and I we were talking about giving before the marriage part.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
we were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah.
My thought is, if you think about it from a contractual standpoint of building, erecting a building or a home, something like that. consider the dating, the relational portion as the portion where you all are. You're gathering your necessary paperwork, permits. You're looking at the site where you're going to build. All these things, right? And you save that huge thing.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord, we lost the
Lord,
icing on the
he
cake.
got stuck in time. Lord have mercy.
Oh
He didn't get
no.
stuck in. No.
No, Jesus.
And
Well,
it
I
was about
think
to
I
get it
think
was
I
about to
think
get
I
juicy,
think
y'all.
Charles
Yes.
would say
He was
I
about
think
to take it
Charles
to
would say until I sign the contract, we ain't dealing crack. We talking
it.
about it.
And there it is. And there it
We just
is.
talking about it. We just talking about it. Now,
Until I
when we
signed
sign
the
the
contract.
paperwork and we get these stamps and go to the closing, now we gonna build a house.
Right, because ain't no foundation gonna be poured until after we close.
Yeah, that's when you get
Listen.
that earnest money down.
Yeah,
The
right,
earnest.
right. Yeah, that earnest money, it's just that
Yeah, yeah,
earnest. It doesn't mean we're gonna
yeah,
follow through to the end. That's just a part of it.
yeah.
But it looks like we have lost lost Reverend Dixon.
Yeah.
We just lost her. But you guys, I want to thank you guys for being on tonight. This was a really sticky topic, and so I had really prayed before we even got on here, that
Yeah.
it would be something that we could share and really be able to help people to see where this behavior can be so detrimental to the person on the receiving end. And
Yeah.
secondly, to the point to where when we have this type of behavior, we're not thinking about the probability of it returning back to us.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of times people put that stuff out without realizing that there's a such thing as boomerang. Whatever
Mhm.
we
Come back.
Hmm.
it's
The
got to find
harvest.
its way back to us. And the
Yeah.
Mhm.
important part of that is when it finds its way back to you, it may be far worse than what you gave out in the first place. So we got to be
Yeah.
cognizant of this stuff and how we treat people because the golden rule still applies no matter where we are in life, no matter how much access and all this other stuff that we have nowadays or in any time in the future. The golden rule still applies. Do unto somebody else what you intend to receive done to you. If we just look at, like Cece said earlier, if you could just get a mirror and see yourself in the equation and say, would I want somebody to do this to me? And the question and the answer would be, of course not. I do not want to be on
Yeah.
the receiving end of this type of behavior. And I think a lot of us would consider that before we start doing stuff to be harmful to other people. So on that note, you guys, thank y'all for being here again. Join us next Tuesday night, same bad time, same bad channel, and also on Monday night, Mr. Dixon Unique Perspective Love Talk Radio, right here on the Book of Faces, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I know he's working on a couple of other projects. I didn't know whether he was going to do some announcements tonight or not, but they will be on Monday night, him and the Unique Perspective Love Talk crew. And we'll see you guys back here on next Tuesday. Until then, blessings. I appreciate your time and everybody
Later
being
on,
on the
Bruce.
platform.
Later
I
on,
appreciate you
Mrs.
Mhm.
guys so much. Thank you so
Later
much
on,
for
Sissy.
everything you do.
See y'all later.
Thank you so much for bringing your brains to the table.
Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night,
you
everybody.
guys. Blessings.
Have a good one.